Hi everyone. Okay, so hi everyone. First time back on a stream for a long time. Stream today. I don't know how long it's going to be. We'll see if anyone joins to watch. Otherwise, this is just like pre-recorded, and you can watch it as I talk about this thing here, which is the very first bike in the world that you can choose two motors on it without changing anything. You've got two options. You've got the Askoll C98, or you've got the Shimano EP801. It's got the same bolt pattern, and they're the first company in the world to offer both bikes. Now, the Askoll version is a special order, so you have to call them up and they'll make it for you. But fundamentally, yeah, you've got two options, which is pretty cool. So anyway, so we're going to talk about this bike a bit and what this means for the market. Also, I want to sort of talk a little bit about DJI motor and flow bike, what I've been seeing going on the internet. Like literally every brand has got it in there, or every channel's got it in their hands at the moment in the countries where it's for sale. But then you're reading stuff where it's for sale. People are buying it anywhere anyway. They're ordering it direct from China, which is very strange. Anyway, so we'll talk about that in a bit. But I'm going to focus on this thing here. So you can't see it from this side very easily now, because I've got back, because if you didn't know, I crashed. I don't have the ability to, lift it up and turn it around very easily. Maybe I can, but I can't show you the motor positioning. But the one thing I want to say about it is that this motor has the same bolt pattern as the Shimano EP801. So what it means is that you can choose this bike with two motors. Now, this is the very first mainstream company to offer the two motor option. So what's the advantage of choosing these two motors? Well, this motor here, it's got 110 Newton meters in the full power mode. If you press and hold the button, it'll peak for, I think, about 20 seconds, 30 seconds at 110 Newton meters, which is quite good. And Shimano one won't do that yet. Maybe one day. You never know what they're working on. I don't actually know, so I just have to wild guesses at the moment. But yeah, so now Thok they've given me this to play with. Now I'm a bit handicapped, let's say, so a bit hard to, let's say, get on board and ride it properly. But I will have a bit of a go, probably in a week or so for the first time. And I've also got a new Bosch motor out there as well in the other part of the building. So I've got a brand new Bosch motor on a Focus Jam Squared. So I'll be testing that as well at some point. But basically, yeah, this bike is revolutionary, and that's the point. It's a revolutionary bike. And if you're into the latest motor systems, and that's the thing actually at the moment, I've noticed that most of the motors that are being, it seems to be motors are basically the main the main way people are selling bikes. It's all about the motor. I mean, the Amflow, for example, on its own, the bike wouldn't be anything. It's everyone buying it for the DJI motor. Now, I have spoken to someone who's been riding it quite a lot, and they say that bike is very good value for money, very good performance, but suspension system's not very good, apparently. So, who knows? I don't know. I haven't tried it myself. I've noticed quite a few people playing with it, but yeah, they're all over the internet. So I wonder if they're being paid, all these journalists, to ride it everywhere. And yeah, but it's kind of a bit of a false friend, really, on the weight factor as well. Now, I haven't weighed this thing, but this is a carbon frame. This is the Gram. Yeah. So this thing comes in about 22 kilos, 23. So, but this is a proper enduro build. So we've got a 38 fork, chunky tires. Basically super robust. This thing uphill will fly, I am sure, because of Yeah, hey. Yeah, I'm getting fine. Merry Christmas to you, everyone. I got a Christmas tree out as well. Yeah, this bike is basically going to fly uphill. Now, it's already a pretty fast bike uphill, but with this motor on it, the Askoll. Now, I do want to show you the other side. Let me see if I can turn it around, because we'll see what I can do. Give me a second. Oh, dear. Can I turn this thing around? Let me see. Whoa, my back. I've got to be careful. Oh, I haven't reversed the brakes, so let's see what we can do. Not knock anything. Because I really should have done this beforehand, but I always prefer to have the bike looking its best on the other way. Oh, there we go. Managed to. Oh my god. Even simple things like that, kind of hard work. Now I've put the bike in the way. Right. Haha, we can see it. We can see it. Okay. So that's the most important thing, is this. Now, how can you put another motor on a bike designed for another motor? Well, a lot of it is to do with the bolt pattern and the form factor of the external casing of the motor. So what we've got here is this cutout in the frame will accommodate this part of the motor where the actual stator is in there, the case. Now, that's not true of all Shimano equipped bikes. They sometimes have a lower cut there, but this one doesn't. This one has the ability to take it. So Thok decided that they do this, offer this to people, because at the end of the day, it gives them a consumer an extra offer, and they've actually started selling a lot of these. So this is officially called the Gram DK. So it comes as a frame set only, normally. It's got the Askoll battery in there, 600 watt, and the motor there. The remote's up here. It's quite a chunky remote. It's not a slimline remote, but it's pretty good. I like it. And it's easy to operate. No display, or you can use a wireless display if you want. But yeah, it's basically a weapon for racing, and that's what they really want to aim it at. Now, this is the medium version. I haven't really enjoyed riding medium bikes for a long time, so I don't know if I'm going to get on with this because it's medium when I start riding. But normally I take the L, but they didn't have any because they sold them out. And this is the thing, they're building these and selling them as fast as they can make them. So this thing is definitely turning into an attractive proposition for those people who are looking for the latest tech. Now let's talk about the motor. So it's the C90A. Now I have test ridden this motor, and basically it sits normally at 90 Newton meters, 250 watts of nominal power. I think it peaks at about 600, 700 maybe. But the most important thing about this thing is that you have the boost button, so you can press and hold it and it will switch to 110 Newton meters. Now, the reality is, when are you going to use that 110 Newton meters of torque? And I have to say, not very frequently, in my opinion, because based on what I rode when I was fit and healthy, I only used it about 3 times where I felt it was necessary. And that's an important point to consider. So it's not necessarily necessary all of the time. So whether you need it or not is a whole other thing. So in my opinion, the overly focus on the 120 Newton meters is a little bit of a white elephant maybe. But Saying that, I do know that some other brands out there are, in fact, brands out there that you know very well have got some very powerful motors coming. So, and also some very torquey motors, but they already exist, and that was the point. This is why I got this thing, because I actually wanted to challenge someone to a bit of an uphill battle with the DJI, because I want to show that the DJI is a lot of marketing, and this thing already has the torque, as does Rocky Mountain, as does the Paulini motor. They've already got the torque, so but they've just not been available on mainstream bikes. But this is a mainstream bike, and it is available. So there's dealers in the America, UK, Australia, Germany, Italy, France. There's dealers everywhere, so it's a fully supported bike. And from what I understand, Thok are doing quite well with their. They haven't overcooked it, let's say, and they've got a solid client base. So they're not in dire straits like quite a lot of the bike companies out there. Let's talk about Rocky Mountain, for example. So I was there testing the first Power Play back in 2017, I think it was, when it came out. It's got 109 or 108 Newton meters. I rode that thing quite a lot in Valberg in France, and it was an interesting experience, I have to say. And basically I felt it was a bike that benefited from the torque, but you didn't necessarily need it. Again, when I was there was only one situation when I was climbing up this steep little berm out of a riverbed up to the top of the road to start going, where I felt, oh, this torque is really cool and really useful. So anyway, so I noticed we've got a few people on the stream watching. So if you've got any questions about these torquey motors and if they're necessary, because I just tested the new Bosch as well, and when you ride that, you start to think, do I need 110 Newton meters? What are you going to use it for? Because the point is, there's a lot of number games going on. The reality is, when you're pedaling and you're riding with, let's say, on a slippy off-road surface uphill, a lot of it's about traction. What can you do with all that torque? Ooh, like what can I do with my back? So those of you who want to know, I broke my back. So it's pinned together, so it's okay. And it will be better, but it means I have to sit upright. It's a bit strange. So I don't know how long I can stay on the stream for chatting about this bike. But the more you chat, the more I'm going to be able to concentrate on what you guys are saying. So put some comments on there and questions about the bike. But this might be a good point also to mention channel sponsor Liat, who been supporting me this year with all the gear, and what I should say, very grateful for the equipment. Kind of saved me quite well. Helmets are pretty cool. So have a look at their website. I've put a little logo and I've marked this stream also. I'm the only one out there who actually says, well, actually there's another few channels who actually say on stream or on video that their channel is supported by. So I think that's really important to say actually in the bike industry at the moment, because there's a lot of skepticism out there. There's some channels which are obviously mentioning things, but not a lot. Anyway, so back to the motor. So this thing, you can have the EP801 or you can have the Askoll Ultra C90A. The EP801 is the Shimano one. It's obviously been updated and it works quite well. I've tested that as well. You find a video test on the channel if you go and have a look. It's got a really good overrun on it now. An extra boost to the power support when you're pedaling and standing up. Nice feeling motor, very smooth, very supportive. This motor is a little bit more. It's got a lot of support on the higher torque and higher cadence. Really impressed with that. And I'm quite surprised how well it pedals, because I know that I met the designer of this motor, and he was an ex Piaggio designer. So motors. What he doesn't know about motors, he's not worth knowing. And they were quite nervous actually when they gave it to me to test, because they wanted to make sure that it was good feeling. So a lot of it's obviously the software and the hardware working together. Now, one thing worth noting, which I've been told, especially for heat management and torque capability, the actual size of the stator here is very important when it comes to high performance, low heat. So obviously the bigger the stator, the more power and efficiency they can run through it without it overheating. So I'm interested to try on some long hot climbs the DJI motor. I saw it the other day. It's quite compact actually, so I'm interested to know how they manage that. I've also tried recently the ZF motor. Now ZF, for those who don't know, is a major gearbox and motor manufacturer, and they a lot of their stuff is in BMW, Audi. I think even the Audi R8 might have that ZF system in it. I know Ineos do with their 4x4s. So basically what you've got going on there is a very, very, very good motor company making, and gearbox company making a high-tech motor. Now I tried it, didn't try it extensively, but it was quite surprising, quite solid feel. 90 newton meters. Now that 90 newton meters on that motor felt very similar to this 90 newton meters on this motor, I have to say. So it's a different, it's a more supportive feel, let's say. So a lot of it's about timing on the pedal strokes. So it was explained to me that the way you get, so this whole power and torque thing is it's a game, let's say. But it was explained to me like this. So these peak powers that are being quoted happen when you first touch the pedals and the motor spikes. But because the cyclical nature of these motors, so they're not constantly on, because you pedal one stroke and then you pedal the next stroke and you pedal one stroke and so on. They actually switch off the power or reduce it, ramp it down, ramp it up, ramp it down in a pulsing motion as you're riding. So what I suspect is if they're being quoted as a high peak, possibly the ramp up is a bit harder, which gives that stronger support feel. But obviously to compensate, to keep it inside that legal limit, you're going to need to have less on the less power on the ramp down. So I'm interested to, so there's this pulsing motion that can happen, so they can peak out a bit. Now apparently there's an unspecified amount of time, according to the EN 15917 rating, that this motor has to be at that temperature, or it can get up to a temperature, and then the average power levels have to be 250 watts. They can peak maximum, according to the law, at 600. So a lot of the companies bumping more than that probably are playing with fire, let's say. But yeah, anyway, point is this thing here has those peaks, and when you're pedaling it, you can feel definitely a level of support. But what happens on this motor is it doesn't come in hard. It starts a little soft and then ramps up, but then it's got sustained support, and that's where I think it's really important to see these motors and how they work. It's that sustained support at the higher cadence. So if you're bumping between 80 and 110, 120, which not many people do, but I do ride with a cadence of around 80 to 100. That's normally what I do. Obviously not at the moment. My cadence is 0, but there we go. You basically, what you'll find is with those cadence of around 80 to 100, a lot of the motor's torque and support levels drops off. Now this thing doesn't. And that is the major advantage of this bike with this motor. And remember, it's built around the Shimano motor, and you can order it with the Askoll Ultra C90. So if you want that bike with that strong motor, strong support. Now, Askoll as a company is a major brand. They actually support Bosch, believe it or not. So Bosch has multiple production lines, multiple facilities for producing motors for all kinds of gear, and they have multiple suppliers, obviously, so they diversify their supply chain to be reliable, and Askoll is one of those suppliers. So, you know, it's a quality manufacturer with a lot of staff, quite a few places around the world where they produce everything from washing machines to motorcycle motors, and obviously this. So it's an interesting option to have this company out there doing this. I'd say it's one of the serious companies, and they've hit the market with this motor at the right time with the right numbers for them. But I just think it needs a little bit more adoption. So they're obviously, when they had Thok come along and hey Matt, nice to see you back at work. I say thanks. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back, kind of. But I thought I'd do a stream. I was there going, oh, shall I stream? Shall I not? Well, okay, let's do a stream. So I started playing with the logos, and I've got this logo. If you look at this nice little logo at the bottom there, I was making that, just playing, and then yeah, I thought, oh, forget it. Let's do a stream. So I will be back pedaling. Honestly, I haven't ridden since the crash, but yeah, it was a pretty brutal crash, I have to say. But never mind. I'm getting there. So working from the home. So I wonder how many people actually work when they're at home. I don't know. I mean, I do really all the time. I sit there. It's hard not to pick up the computer and start looking at product and start creating and planning production stuff. But I'm going to have a proper studio soon. So I did a video on motor.it, which you go and have a look, where I was talking about my 10 things about e-bikes, only e-bikes, but that's in the new studio space, which is going to be amazing. We've also got a new podcast in Italian coming, so that'll be pretty cool as well. But yeah, so I've got lots of things planned. Obviously getting back on the bike is one of them. So I have had the luck of riding this bike with the Shimano setup, and also I've ridden another bike with the Askoll setup. So if you see, I haven't got pedals in it yet. I need to put pedals in. Maybe I'll put some pedals in tomorrow. Maybe Christmas Day I should try and ride, even if it's just around. So the doctor did tell me, because I broke my hand, that I can ride as long as I ride a bike, a bit like a shopping bike. So in Italian it's called a graziella, which is like, sit up and beg, sort of Dutch style shopping bike. So anyway, so I might take it for a ride, because this position here can be a little difficult. But I'm thinking, if I just put this on full power, yeah, I'm looking better. Thanks, Sam. I was very messed up. I could go close up on the face, like this part of my face, I can't feel it. It's really weird. You can stab me here and I wouldn't feel it, because all the nerves are, gone from here underneath, and they should grow back. But yeah, for the moment I can't really feel it, which is weird, because it gets really intensely itchy as it's healing. So, but yeah, that's been quite an epic thing. Thing is, when you crash, it's like you sort of break everything rather than just one or two things. But luckily I had no head injury, thanks to the very strong helmet from Liat. There we go. Good advertising. No, but seriously, the helmets are top quality, so I was pretty lucky with that. Anyway, back to the bike. So I'm going to get on this bike, and I'm probably going to take it for a ride. Gravel roads, flat roads, nothing crazy, because I can't take the shocks at the moment. But I reckon give it another month, and I should be able to ride a bit more normally, and should be, spinning out and having some fun a bit, but probably not rough downhills, because also my left hand is, because I broke the bone in there, so it's getting better, but it's it's going to take time to heal perfectly. But yeah, So I get back on the bike and ride it. Now, this bike is quite a rigid frame setup, to be honest, which makes it fire uphill. So when you're really riding, all that energy just transfers directly, rocky, rough, up and down. This bike flies. When you point it downhill, it's not as stable as a hardcore enduro bike from, say, Canyon, the Strive-On, which is one of my favorites, or Lapierre with the GLP-3. But it does go uphill faster. So I'm super interested because it's got the right build on it. It's got the mullet build. And it's got the right rim width, tyre format. So super interested to get this up the hill, see what the grip is like. Because, as I said before, at the beginning of the stream, when you switch to the 90 to 110 Newton meter mode, you start to realize you've not very many occasions that you need that high power mode. So why did Thok do it? Well, they've got quite a dedicated user base and quite a lot of people like to race. And they sort of said, okay, let's make these custom frames, which are available to order. Remember the Gram DK? I'm not sponsored by Thok for this. I'm just telling everyone. And have I managed to watch the video of my crash yet? Yes, I have. It makes me pretty rough. There is a Dropbox available with all the brutal, horrific, blood, screaming, crying video, which is out there, which I could make available to anyone who emails me. You can go on my channel. You can get my email address from the channel if you want to see it. But it's pretty brutal. So I don't really... I had it on my laptop, but I kind of got rid of it. Good morning from New Zealand. Hello. Yes, great to see you. Great to the chat to start warming up. I got 8 concurrents. That's pretty good. So last stream I did, I had like 17 people. That was pretty cool. So I really love streaming as well because it gives me an opportunity to respond directly to people. It's a problem with videos and making videos on YouTube. Is somebody always knows better than you. In some cases, it's true. And somebody random has some experience that you haven't got. But I try to cut the videos quite short to keep the interest. So what does that do when I'm talking about my experiences on all these motors and bikes and everything? It means that I'm unable, let's say, to cover everything without sending people to sleep. So I kind of like the live streaming for the ability to have the question and answers if people have got questions. And I can cover everything in detail because everyone knows if you're watching a stream, you know, you're not expecting a high velocity YouTube edit. So you're more likely to stay on and watch. So yeah, basically what I've had happening on the, let's just see if my stream health is pretty good actually. Got another computer because my old one blew up 2 days ago, which was fun. Anyway, so basically covering all the detailed points, I can go into a little bit more depth. So if you've got questions, put it on there and I'll answer them. But yeah, you can get a little bit more in depth, and there's a lot of questions. Face injuries are gnarly. I know. Okay, right. As you're asking, as it's on my phone, YouTube can't show you. Let's find it. So I can't get, because I have to put parental advisory because of the last one. Oh my goodness. So let's find the video. There's a clip of my face, which I sent to my friends. Do you think bimodal clip on e-bike? Bimodal. Okay, so here we go. For those who want to see a gnarly clip, you can't really see it properly. There we go. That's my face. Well, you can see the red. I don't know if it's overexposed. Let's see if the exposure... There we go. That's it. Not showing any more than that. Yeah, bimodal. I haven't actually tried bimodal. Depends what bike it's on. I have a lot of people, a lot of producers contact me and message me because for people who don't know, my main channel is actually in Italian, even though I'm British, and I do all my testing for Motor Diet, and then I've got my side channels sort of doing everything else that I want to do in English. But it's been going quite well, and the views are going up. You guys are supporting me and watching and commenting, which is amazing, and it gives you an amazing feeling, especially after all these crashes and everything. It's really really been helpful. So to like keep me motivated, get back into it. So the bimotor, I haven't tried it. I have been offered quite a lot of other motors. The one motor which I've tried, which just blows everything away, is the Sachs RS, but that's only available on like 2 bikes, and it's a pretty amazing motor, but you have quite a heavy build. So anyway, so what's this? DD410. Can you tell me which MTB motor manufacturer has the best support and is the most reliable? Wow, that is a good question. So the motor manufacturers don't tell you, or the consumer, they don't really share their return rates. So what I do know is that Bosch, on their pre-smart system, so it was still the Gen 4 CX, had a very reliable motor system. When it switched to the smart system, so with a change of the electronics, but keeping the CX4 motor, the electronics became a little bit more finicky. Often it would require apparently to sort of strip the motors out, put everything on the table, plug it all in to figure out what's wrong with it. But the thing about Bosch is it is a huge company, and as long as you've got a good dealer who's plugged in, let's say, excuse the pun, and knows what's going on, you're going to basically have good support. So it comes down to dealer knowledge. It's the whole chain that's involved in that support, and it's not just the manufacturer. But saying that, most reliable, my opinion, so it's my opinion, reliability and just like ease of use, Paulini, which unfortunately motors aren't available on much. You can fully strip and rebuild that motor at home, and all of the parts are available, and they will be for at least the next 10, 15 years, which is amazing. You get the exploded diagram. You can strip and rebuild it really easily. So yeah, for me, that's the most reliable, because I'm basing my reliability judgment on can I fix it myself? Am I self-sufficient? It's like when I crashed, the shock of not being self-sufficient and having to call the emergency services to get you out of there is pretty horrific. It's just such a horrific experience. So it's the same thing when you buy a motor. You spend all this money. It's you really, you sweat, work hard. You want to put that money to good use, and you buy a good bike and have a good time, and you've got to deal with some weird, finicky, bureaucratic system to get support, and I don't like that. So that's why I like this reliability. But in that case, from all the bikes I've ridden, the most reliable for me has been the Bosch system, but I haven't ridden, say, the Paulini system enough. Shimano has been good, but a lot of that depends on the bike companies that make the bikes, because Shimano offers the ability to have third-party batteries, which are certified by Shimano. But as we've seen with Canyon, that's caused some issues. So I don't know, reliability sort of drops off a little bit for me. And also, if you want to get their motors serviced, you can't. They just do a motor swap replacement. So I've got a really itchy face right now because of the gnarly face injury. So just give me a second because it's painful. Oh my God. Anyway, let's read more of the notes. Getting my Nikolai Saturn 16 MGU next week. Can't wait. Yeah, Nikolai make amazing bikes. I mean, let's be honest. They make really good geometry. They're not the lightest bikes in the world, because obviously the frame styling and the design, but they are epically good looking, well designed, very, very well supported. Small volume numbers. You've got to wait when you order it, but when they come in, yes, very, very impressive product. Like Nikolai, I'd love one, but getting one for a test is pretty hard. I'm not in the biggest channel to get that right now, let's say. But anyway. Okay, have Liat said anything about the failure of the helmet? Yes, they have. In fact, hopefully we'll see if we're going to go to their headquarters and talk to their chief designers and go and do some research about it. Because, so basically, I was told by the front part of the helmet that broke because of the impact. So basically, how did I hit the ground? So I hit the ground at 15 to 20 miles an hour head first without really putting my hands out. I've just about managed to put this hand up. That's why it broke. But I went full speed into the ground from a height of about 2 meters downwards head first. So I just remember the whole thing coming towards me like this. So that helmet took the destruction. Now it's an integrated helmet, so you can take the thing off and put it off, but that didn't break. What broke was the actual plastic. Now I've been told that the full face helmet, the Enduro Gravity 6, would probably have broken as well because of the force of the impact that I had to deal with. Because that's why my face got cut, because the goggles just crushed into me so hard that the glass jumped out and just cut my face apart. Because basically my whole face was squished into the ground. I mean, I broke my nose as well, so I really hit the ground very hard. Now there is the Enduro 8 helmet, Gravity 8, which is the top of the range, which is apparently able to be certified as a motorbike helmet, but it's been chosen to be certified by Liat because you can't have dual homologation as a mountain bike helmet. So I'm going to try that at some point, hopefully. But Liat were very shocked at what happened, and they were very supportive, let's say. And at the same time, they were very interested. So they're going to have the helmet, and they're going to do some research, and because obviously real world compared to the lab is a whole other thing. So let's read down thing. I like your channel because you are not restricted by one bike company. No, I'm not. And I absolutely love it. I absolutely love the fact that I can say whatever I like. And believe me, I do. I tell the people who are making the bikes and inviting me, I tell them what I think. And most of them are really nice, actually. Like if you tell them what you think, I've had bike design, I had Specialized, chief designer Specialized, call me one day and say, hey, Alex, what do you want in a bike for 2025? And I'm like, all right. So I just told him, so, I'm not saying they just built my bike, but, they do listen and they do know. But obviously, I think a lot of the designers are restricted by what they can say in public. But I do know that they're all trying to work to make a quality product. But obviously, big companies, slow and sticky. So, I don't like the hardcore marketing, though. I really don't like the marketing methods of the mountain bike industry where they are very difficult. So I say what I want, and I always take, let's say, a diplomatic median line about how a bike rides. I always focus on what you can do with it and what you can do with the motors. Like this motor here, for example, you can blast uphill on this very powerfully and have a lot of fun. But it's not a lightweight motor. It's not a lightweight bike, so don't even pretend that. And I will say that without any issue. And I find some of the channels out there that I know they're not saying in the video, I was sponsored by, I am supported by. And if you look at the whole tech industry, they do say that. And the mountain bike industry doesn't, apart from MBR. And okay, EMBN does, but they're like an entertainment channel. They're not testing bikes. They've got it written in their whole charter. If you look, they don't test bikes. They kind of go around the houses about it. So there we go. But yeah, anyway, next comment. What do you think about Gates belt drive gearbox e-bikes? I like the Gates e-drive, but it's silent. I've ridden one a long time ago but the only question I have about these gearboxes is how reliable are they? And a question of sealing. So this is a very important point. So a lot of people go on about sealing. And yes, they're well sealed, but how does the water get in? Well, water always seems to find in because it's the micro beads that actually get sucked in. The motor sucks in the moisture. So I'm interested to see, now that's got oil in it. So that should be a little bit of a deciding factor in keeping the motor from, packing up from having too much water in there. I haven't heard many rumors about whether it's good or bad. The people I know have been riding it, have done quite a few kilometers on it, had no problems with it. Obviously unsprung mass on the rear wheel, very important. So you've taken the weight off the rear wheel, putting it in the middle of the bike, so you get better stability. You're going to have a more reactive rear end, depending obviously on suspension linkage, things like that. Yeah, shit, that looks bad, mate. It's healing up. Great. Yes, it was a bad cut. When it's your face is open and you're there in the woods alone and you're like really like out of it, you're like, and I like touched my face and I was like going, oh my God, this is really open. This is really bad. And that's when I started to realize, oh, this is terrible. And then I couldn't really, and the realization that you can't rescue yourself and you, what are you going to do? Walk down the street into the hospital with your face falling apart and blood everywhere because it's dripping all over there. I couldn't even touch my phone screen because it was just covered in so much blood. And I was trying to like scrape the blood off to be able to operate the phone to get a message out just to say help. So there we go. Yes, that's the best thing about this channel. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, no, I really try to be honest. No one pays me. Like if somebody gives me support like Liat, I will say, and it doesn't mean I don't ride or look at the other products and don't have an opinion. Yeah, no dingling derailleur. Yes. Derailleur thing is interesting. I have only ever broken one derailleur in about 20 years of riding. So, I don't know. Also, the derailleurs are expensive now. If you've got a T-type, you're spending $700 on a high-end T-type. You could be up to 500, 700 euro dollars. That's a lot of money to be hanging off the back there. A lot of it can depend on the terrain that you ride. So I ride a mixture between sort of loamy woods and rock. So don't really ride in the mud much. So that's one thing. But yeah, definitely a good point. So huge these days that on 27 wheels almost touching the ground. Yes, you're right. It is almost touching the ground. So this is mechanical shifting. It's, what is it? Oh my gosh. It's Shimano. No, it's SRAM. It's a SRAM GX mechanical. And yeah, 12 speed. But, you know, it depends where you ride, obviously, and how fast you go. And yeah, and how gnarly you are on a bike. Everyone goes on about speed, and I try to. Yeah, you thought the helmet would cut me, not the goggles. Yeah, I thought it was the helmet, but it's the lens popped out of the goggles and went forced down because the force of the impact just squashed my whole face into the ground. I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you're 90 kilos like me, so almost 200 pounds, and you're doing 20 miles an hour, 15, 20 miles an hour, and you go from 2 meters to a dead stop, face first into the ground, the energy's got to go somewhere. So I had the neck brace on, and so that would stop any whiplash. But if you look at the helmet, it crushed on the left side. It crushed on the top as well. It's pretty gnarly. And everywhere I go now, everyone's like comes up to me and goes, "Oh, Alex, I've seen you, and I'm glad you're okay." And it's pretty amazing. What's my favorite Italian food? Wow, what a question. Okay, peachy ragu. So peachy ragu is the slightly thick spaghetti, and with a ragu sauce that's been made a few days before and been allowed to, let's call it, season in the fridge so it absorbs all of the ingredients. Now, if you want the proper recipe, what I normally do is so celery, carrots, onions, finely chopped, added with a bit of white wine to a mix of high quality ground beef with high quality Italian sausages, which are then obviously you strip the meat out and you put those in there. You cook it all up, fry it all up, and add a small amount of tomato, but not too much, just to give it a bit of bite, a bit of a feeling. And then you let it simmer for a long time. And then you put that, obviously, you let it cool down and add, obviously, good quality olive oil. But you put that in the fridge and you leave it there for 2 days or a day and a half. And you'll find then that will be amazing. Now, the peachy, just the thick pasta, you don't need a huge volume. People think pasta should be a big volume, but I think it should be not too much, just a small ball, high quality. I prefer high quality and not good volume to try and keep my weight under control. I don't know how many of you out there have struggle with weight. I'm pretty good because I'm pretty active, but I've noticed too many carbs, just weight goes on. So keep the carbs off. Just regulate high quality, lots of food, lots of vegetables, salads, etc. Follow in. Yeah, anyway, that's the Italian food. Smash the like for this content. Yes, please. Please. Hit like. Hit like. Everyone hit like now. Boom. More people hit like, more people write comments, then the more people follow the channel. Like, my aim is to stay as positive and as open as possible. And I know all the other YouTubers out there. I know them all. And I talked to a couple of them who I'm very good friends with, who we intensely discuss the other YouTubers and what's real and what's fake about what they do. I say that. We say it in private. So there we go. But everything I do is real. I don't fake anything. So there we go. Right, Matt Shepherd. They say that the oil getting warmer and expanding helps the water out. Normal motors have grease and air. When the hot motor cools down, the water can get sucked in. Yes, that's true. I'd say probably on the descent. That's why ZF have a oil-based system with their ZF motor. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's what I've been told as well. So, but there's a company in the UK, in the town from Fordingbridge in Hampshire, where I went to school, which is pretty epic. It's a small village in Hampshire with not very many people, and there is the major used motor repair centre. It was covered by EMBN, and I went to school there, and it's just this, it's not full of mountains or anything. And they said, if you call them up, they'll give you a good rundown on what they've got the experience there for the motors, and they can fix most motors, which is good, if the spares are available. But Shimano doesn't make very many spares available, which is kind of unfortunate. So, Sam, do you think we will see a bike with a Bosch 800-watt battery on an aluminium frame? Can only see carbon frames on most. Yes, I've got one. I have one, the Focus Jam Squared. It has an 800 battery in it, and I've just looked at the product. It's €5,500 starting price, up to €7,000 for the high one, but you can probably get a discount on that a bit at the moment, maybe 5-10%. And it's got the 800, and it just pops in and pops out. You can switch it out, and I'm going to have a review of that. I've got the bike. I'm going to do a video up. I'll put one up in the next few days, actually. I'll try and get a video up about this, and I'll try and get one up about the Focus. The only thing is the Focus is a bit of a tank, I have to say, but they've really done really well on the frame, like finishing on the welds. They've kept those welds very, very nicely finished. So the frame looks carbon, but it's not. It's aluminium. Do you think this? Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's okay. So Bosch, the new Bosch motors, the new Bosch stuff, it's all been launched with the idea that, unfortunately, the warehouses on some brands are still full of the old Bosch stuff. So I think what they've done is a bit of a political way. Apart from, say, Cube and Focus, they've gone for releasing bikes with high-end, where people are going to buy, and all that sort of medium, low-end stuff, aluminium-based, is going to take a while to come out because they want to clear the stock, which also, big hint, is partly about the stats of the motor and the electronics inside a Bosch motor. So the original Bosch CX Gen 4 started out at 75 Newton meters, and it was upgraded to, or 80 Newton meters, and it was upgraded to 85 with a software update. Now, I think that could possibly happen with the new one. But if they did that, like they did with the old one, they probably would annoy a lot of people who've got bikes in the warehouses, because the bike industry is in a bit of a chaos at the moment. And I mean, I've heard rumors that there are thousands and thousands of e-bikes hanging in warehouses waiting to be sold. I don't know what their motor build up is, but yeah. I have an old Focus Jam Squared from 2018 Shimano motor, though the Focus only had the smaller batteries. It's good from. Yes, I was at the launch of that bike. It was actually a good bike. Older geometry style. It was a good bike, and the battery was smaller, but you had the option to put on that extra battery. And I think if you had, I think it was a 500 watt or a 450 watt. I can't remember. I think it was a 500 watt hour battery plus the 300 I think it was a 320 or 350 watt hour battery inside. I think you could go up to like 800 watts or 750 watts or something with the two batteries together. But it was quite a beast of a bike at that point. It was quite heavy. So, yeah. But to definitely, you know, the Focus Jam Squared, I've got it there. I could grab it. Should I try and grab it? Maybe I should try and grab it. Okay, let's go and get it. Just wait with me. Bear with me on stream. Somebody write a comment. I'll go. It was a 375. Let me go and get it. Let me show you. Hang on a minute. I've got to navigate around a few things that are in the way. Hang on a minute. Ugh. Brakes are not swapped around yet. Okay, so here it is. Here's the new Jam Squared. I haven't actually tested this yet. I literally got it the other day. It's clean. It's not been ridden. This bike is a freshie, like a real freshie, completely unridden. There it is. I'm looking at an e-bike for Rotorua, choosing between new Merida 160 and YT 160-29. What do you think? The Merida is an epic bike. I've ridden it. It really is an epic bike. I was really surprised how good it was. Here we go. So here's the Focus. But I was really surprised how good it was. The white E160 is very good as well. And I have someone who has one of those in the back of the van nearby. And I will hopefully get a ride on it before the 6th of January, because that'd be nice. But I'm chasing my health. It's really a nightmare. I want to get on the bikes, but it's just difficult because I don't want to overcook it and put myself back. So, right. So here's the bike. Right. Just to show you, don't think there's a... Okay, so just taking the battery cover off. That's the 600 watt hour battery in there. This bike's been designed so you can actually fit the 800 or the 600 because the down tube fits both. The only thing you have to change is the cover shape, and then that will fit in. Yeah. Look at this. I've got these two amazing bikes sat here, and I'm half crippled. Difficult to ride them. Both really clean. This has got the new Bosch motor, and one's got the Askoll. Fortunate guy. But yeah, what happens to all of the test bikes after they've been tested and reviewed? Also, I've finished. Before I say that, I want to answer the white E160. The white E160, there's a light version with a 400 in it. You can add the battery, the Powermore 250 extender, and that bike will operate with the CX motor power. And if you take the extender off it, it will cut back to a SX performance. So that's one of the quirks of the new Bosch system that people don't really know about, that they're not really talking about much, but it will operate, but it operates as an SX mode because it hasn't got enough voltage support and current support with a 400 watt hour battery in it. But definitely a good bike. So from what I've heard, and I think it won the MBR group test, if I remember correctly. Go on MBR, because MBR, they do pretty honest reviews for, brand supported stuff. So it's pretty good. Anyway, yeah, what happens to the bikes? So I probably get sent between maybe about 30 bikes a year. I ride about 30 to 50 bikes a year. I have about 20 to 30 arrive where I live. And I get to go through, I don't get to ride all of them sometimes, I don't have enough time. And so if I've got a particularly nice bike, so some of the brands leave the bikes with me for a long time because they just want me to ride it. and they hope that the bike gets used. So if I'm working on other projects, I might change the tires out, suspension, do different stuff with it. So I might have it for a few months and it'd be like one of the bikes which I use in lots of other videos, and the brands appreciate that. And they never pay me for it. I've never been paid for a bike test, which I think is a really important point. And yeah, and once I've finished with the bike, I mean, if they go back, I mean, I think, so I know Canyon had a big sell-off of all their used and tested stock. I think it all got sent to, they were going to have a big sell-off, like a big auction. So sometimes they do that. Or they sell it to the, what do you call it, to the employees. Because technically speaking, and not many people know this, because, okay, there's a warranty. So this is an aluminium frame, by the way. It doesn't look it, but that's aluminium. So not carbon. So basically what happens is the bikes have a warranty on them, which is a legal warranty. So if I take one of these bikes and I go test ride it and I go huck it and I crash, and that frame has been crashed. Now, is that frame okay? Probably yes. But if they sold that bike on to, say, an end user, a normal customer, and they knew or found out that that bike had been crashed or ridden by me or somebody else like me, and then they had a failure or they had a crash, they could then legally get into hot water. The company could get legally into hot water because that person could say that bike was not like what it wasn't like fit for purpose for whatever reason. So generally, they have, they send these bikes to people in the company. I do know that Marzocchi used to get their forks back and they used to just crush them and just chuck them because they couldn't warranty them, basically. There was no warranty guarantees on them. So they get passed around. A lot of journalists have them. I mean, I've had the same bikes as the other journalists. They get passed around, the journalists, depending on the countries who's going. There's about 5 of us in Italy who get most of the bikes. So I'm one of the 5. And sometimes I get them first, sometimes I get them second. But it depends. Yeah. Sometimes they come from abroad. Sometimes people ask me, can I buy the bike? Or I can ask them to buy the bike and they would give me a discount on it of like 10, 15% or maybe 20%. But I've never really done that because honestly, I don't have enough time to ride my own bike really very often. I've got one, but I don't really ride it very often. So, okay, have you tried bio oil on your scars? I've got some silicone oil or some silicone cream, which is super expensive, a little tube at like, I don't know, 60, 70 euros. And we live in a country where medical stuff is cheap. It was pretty pricey. And I've been rubbing that in and it's done pretty well. So does the cover for the 800 watt hour battery make it look a bit chunkier then? Yes, it does. It does a little bit. I mean, if you look at this looks pretty nice. Let's just slide that in. And yeah. In fact, this bike is brand new. Not many people have had this. I don't think it's ever been on a live stream, to be honest. So quite lucky here. But look at the Bosch motor. It's so compact and slim. Really impressive. This is more of an all-mountain trail bike. It's not really an enduro bike because of the geometry, etc. And this is set up as a 2929. It's got some chunky tires. This is a beast. This is a tank. This is a bike you would buy and it would last you 10 years. No worries. So, yeah. Can you ride Italy in winter? Yes, you can ride Italy in winter. Italy is pretty much one of the best places to ride. It's long, so you've got a very climb. So in the north, you can be in the mountains, it's snowing, obviously. But in the south, it's like 20 degrees still. So, I mean, where I am in Tuscany, I mean, we were on the coast, 12, 14 degrees Celsius days. You can ride, middle of the winter, no worries. It's pretty dry. In fact, the next week is going to be absolutely perfect riding conditions. So, because you can see the bad weather coming from the North Atlantic as it tracks over Europe. And so you can pretty much predict, I can't ride today for a day. And then the next day you can ride. And the temperature is about, I mean, where I am, its average is about 12 to 14 degrees. In the winter, a cold day would be 8 degrees, but you can still ride. It's fine. I just what I've noticed though, riding clothes, I wear trail pants, long pants, and then I would ride with like an underlayer, body armor, a t-shirt, and maybe a light top. But I've got some new clothes for winter from Liat rainproof jackets, but I don't really have to use them that much. I have to be honest, I don't really need to. One layer of gloves. Sometimes you might need a slightly thicker, but very rarely. It depends if it's windy or humid, but it's pretty dry. The weather in Tuscany is pretty amazing. I just can't. It's kind of like Northern California, basically. It's pretty amazing weather. And obviously, though, we do have mountains inside. So the snow level comes down to about 1,000 meters. So if I went to Rincino, which is my amazing spot, highly recommend to go there, I can ride the lower 1,000. I can't ride the top upper 1,000 at the moment, but you can ride the lower 1,000. So what's this? Tom Quimby. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you. On helmet kit ADV and 8.5 kit ADV, 8.5 with no airflow. There must be a way to make a helmet with airflow and stronger. Yes. Good points. I'm not an expert when it comes to helmet design, and I hopefully when Leah call me up or get me to their headquarters to have a look at everything, they'll show me what's going on. Now I have also got an IXS helmet, and I've also got I've got a load of helmets. I've got like a lot of helmets, but which I have used and ridden, but I really don't find helmet testing. Like, I can't test a helmet. I can put it on and go, oh, it's comfortable, it fits, but I can't really like say much more than that. I can talk about the temperature levels. I find if you've got short hair and depending on how you sweat and the internals of the helmet are good, and you're moving, depending on the temperature, and I ride in the summer in like 35 degrees Celsius, 30 to 35, depending on the altitude I'm at. Sometimes a bit hotter, but not very often. And I find the helmets are I'm okay. If you're wearing goggles, though, it does get hotter. But I wear the goggles to protect the eyes. But I've also got, I don't know, sunglasses and helmet, full face looks a bit weird. But anyway, yes, the Focus does take the battery extender. How can you tell if it takes a battery extender? Well, you've got to look at the power plug that plugs in with the where you plug in the power. And there's two little notches in there. And if it's got the two notches either side of the Bosch Smart System plug, which you normally charge the bike from, then it can take the external power adapter. It must have the notches, otherwise the cable won't stay home and it will disconnect. So yeah, making the helmet in the heat, I think it comes down a lot to venting and personal preference, because we're biological creatures and what's good for me might not be good for you. It's like another thing like knee pad design. I found some brands just don't work with me, other brands do. They've all got a lot better, I have to say. And before I was using Liat, I was using Scott knee pads. They were really good. Really, really good, I have to say. I really like the Liat stuff as well. They're well designed. I love the Liat body armor, which got stolen from me, which is annoying. So there we go. Never mind. But yeah, so temperature-wise, it's kind of something you just got to kind of suck it up. This is a problem. If it's hot, just got to suck it up. But I do find in the winter, though, if you put the goggles on and the full face helmet, it keeps my rest of my body temperature sort of under control, so I don't need a big, thick jacket. So that's something I've noticed to keep warm. And obviously, depending on how you move and your temperature, humidity, obviously, when it's cold and damp, it's uncomfortable. So when I do go on big rides in the winter, if it's wet and uncomfortable, what I do is I take a spare change of underclothes. So I'll take with me in my backpack a spare under t-shirt or like close body fit. So probably two levels, the under one, the close skin layer plus a t-shirt or whatever top that I'm wearing, and a new pair of liner shorts. And then I will, if I've been riding uphill, sweating hard, it's been raining, and I've got to the top, and I've got a long ride back, which has happened a few times, and I want to go, I've got like an hour and a half descent. Yes, an hour and a half descent in the winter on the wet, so it can be a bit uncomfortable if you're really cold. I stop on the trail, and I change my underlevel and I put the wet stuff in the bag, or the sweated in stuff, and I've got dry, fresh clothes for the descent. I do that sometimes, and it's a good way of managing body temperature and just keeping yourself comfortable. And yeah, I mean, depending on how much space you've got in your backpack, and also the trousers I have taken up with me, spare shorts or spare trousers for the descent. I have got the Hydrodry 7 boots, which are very similar to the 510s, which have got the neoprene covers on them. Those things are amazing. But I discovered, don't wear high socks, because when I had high socks on, shorts, and it was raining, my legs got really wet and they absorbed into the sock, and then through percolation, so just by, what's it called? Capillary action, the socks sucked the water into the boot, which was very bizarre. So wear low socks or wear them with trousers, and then your feet are going to stay dead dry. That's something I've noticed. So yeah. Does the new Focus? Yes, I answered that. But yeah, it's pretty amazing having all these guys online watching. That's pretty cool, everyone. I don't think I've had a stream with this many people, and I've had 0 drop frames, so my new computer seems to be working well, which is good. Yeah, so yeah, anyway. So yeah, worth noting that the Jam has the 38, and so does the Thok. Suspension. So the Amflow. Let's talk about the Amflow, because I haven't mentioned that yet, or at the end of the stream, or towards an hour's gone by. So I'll keep going. So get into controversy level. So the Amflow frame is essentially, so that's the DJI bike, or the DJI motor equipped bike. Forbidden have got a DJI motor coming as well on one of their bikes. That frame, I've seen it up close, touched it, looked at it. It looks very similar to an SL2 from Specialized. In fact, the owner of Amflow was riding a Specialized Turbo Levo SL before he made his own bikes, so I know that. So it's basically a very thin-looking bike. I personally don't like the look, the styling of it. I don't like the styling. It looks a bit quirky. It does have the ability to have 29 or 27.5 on it. The motor, though, as it sits in the frame, is very subtle. And that's impressive to see. You can't remove the battery, though. And the display looks good. I don't like the dual remotes. They look a bit weird. But that's just my opinion. I prefer to have no remotes on the bar, actually. Even just have the Bosch top tube remotes enough for me, to be honest. That's fine. But yeah, so that bike looks, let's say, it looks a little bit off the standard, but for a first effort and the pricing on it with a component package, it is very competitive. That's true. But they fitted a sort of lightweight build to it. So it is, and those who've ridden it have said, it isn't an enduro bike. So when I've watched people online pumping it up, saying, oh, let's make it, put a big spring on it, big fork, they just shouldn't be doing that to that bike. If you take that frame down, so I've been told the rear suspension on it, the setup that comes stock, is not very good at all. And they need to work on their shock tunes because they're pretty appalling, apparently. But basically, that bike is a trail or mountain bike, more trail than anything. So you're going to pretty much, unless you change the tires out, and because tires make a big difference, and have a very chunky tire, but then your weight's going to go up. You're going to be up at 22 kilos, but I don't know. There's a lot of marketing involved in that bike, because riding the Trek Slash Plus which is a genuine 20.3 kilos, and you ride it, and this bike flies. It's amazing. It's a full-on enduro bike. It's got a 38 fork on it. It's got the TQ motor, though. It doesn't have the full power push, but it's enough for me, and I'm a fairly reasonably fit rider, and I have a good time on it anyway. So, and that's a true lightweight bike. That Amflow is not really a true lightweight bike. It's the weight is hiding in the build and in the marketing. So anyway, let's read more comments. Amflow seems to have a cult following online, and people have only just started riding them. Yes, that's the point. It's a cult following. But if you look, they're on Pink Bike. Rob Ride's got one. EMBN's got one. MBR's got one. Tofa in Germany's got one. Sam's Bike's got one. Who else has got one? Lone Wolf's got one. I know that MTB Mag had one. They got one before they were on. I've asked for one, and they've said they'll give me one in January, February. But, we'll see. But they're starting to appear, but there's a cult. I don't know why. This is just clever marketing. I don't like it, to be honest. I just find it really annoying. Because if you ride this thing, the Askoll, you realise, super powerful, super strong torque feel motor. So if you say, the DJI is more powerful than the Bosch, you go, hang on a minute, you're not comparing an apple to an apple, you're comparing an apple to an orange. You've got to compare it to this, and that's why I've got this bike. I persuaded them to send it to me. I had to go and pick it up, a bit of an effort journey, got it, so I can ride it next to the Amflow. That's the plan. I hopefully will have that happen, but we'll see. Probably won't be able to film it, but, I want to experience it, and I want the person who's got the Amflow to try this, to see how it, just to sort of scotch that sort of noise out there, because I really don't like, the noise and the sort of marketing. It just annoys me. I try to stay as close to reality. At the end of the day, bikes, we're not saving the world here. We're riding bikes, we're having fun. So we don't need to be so serious and cult-like about it, definitely. Yeah, it's true. Anyway. Can you remove battery on the Merida E160? Good question. Can't remember. I think on the high-end one, because there's a 975, a 965. I think the high-end one you can't, and it's got the extender. On the aluminium one, I don't remember. I'll have to ask. Let me ask. Let me make a phone call. See if they'll answer. It's a bit late, actually. I can ask a Merida dealer about that, because I know them, but I will have that bike. I don't know. Let me see. Let me just see. Let's try and call him. Let's go to family. Maybe he'll answer. Should he answer? Should we try? It's 10 o'clock. Maybe not. But yeah, let me just see if he'll answer. Wait a second. I can ask that. I'll send him a message. Una demanda. Let's see if they answer. Maybe the poor guy working all day. Can't hassle him. But I'll introduce you to Mario actually at some point, building the studio for me. He's a really amazing guy. I barely spend any time in the most powerful mode. Yes, that's the point. The most powerful modes are great for a few moments. And that's the point. A few moments. Like this Askoll, honestly, I had it on the motor on another bike on test, and I didn't really like the bike that much. I have to be honest. It was a bit weird. But it was okay. It was at least I had one to ride. And it was well presented. Like Askoll sent me the bike in a crate, standing up, and I just took it off. I rode it. Automotive quality service to journalists. It was amazing how they presented it to me. Anyway, but that bike, I used the full power mode in anger, let's say, 3 times in 1 month. 3 times. Where I was like, the steep climb, very good grip, and it was about 50 meters long. I couldn't make it up on a Bosch. On that thing, up I went. But I used 5% battery for 50 meters of climb, like distance, not even 40 meters. So I watched the battery go, like sort of from 45, it went 38. And then it stopped when I got to the top, and it rebounded back to 40. So 5% battery, you suck the current, which is another thing. Oh, here we go. I get the answer from Merida. Mario,
Oh Alex, dimmi.
sono in diretta sul mio canale.
Sì,
C'è una domanda da qualcuno della Marida. So I'm just telling him. Le I1 I160 è possibile disinstallare le batterie, togliere le batterie per caricare in casa o no?
le 160 hanno le batterie estraibili.
Sì, okay,
Sì,
so it's
c'ha la batteria Shimano estraibile, sì, sì.
okay, so yes, you can remove the battery. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Allora, Mario, grazie. Se
Oui,
tu guardi lo stream, si vedi sei in diretta,
ok,
ok?
ok, ok,
Grazie,
grazie.
man. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
So there you go. Yeah, you can take the battery out. There you go. So there you go. Cool. Shimano one is removable. Uh, we use turbo on long, steep gravel climbs and rotor a lot. Yeah, it's comfortable. I mean, it depends on your physical fitness and what you like to do. Uh, some people like to grind, some people like to just speed up there. And I mean, e-bikes are such a versatile thing. I mean, the great thing is it's an individual sport, but you can ride together, so everyone can kind of do what they want, really, and nothing is wrong or right. You just do what you want. So, that's like what I say. The only thing I will say is, so they've been pushing also the charging rate on the DJI is 2 hours from 0 to full. However, if you charge a battery at a higher temperature current rate, you will wear it out quicker. So do not. So I was talking to a taxi driver the other day with his electric car and taxi. I took a taxi ride in an electric taxi. And I said to him, "Oh, do you supercharge, fast charge this car?" And he's like, "I never fast charge my taxi. I always plug it in at home overnight and let it charge slowly. Otherwise, I will kill the battery." And he's charging every day. He's draining his car battery and refilling it every day. And that's a super high-tech battery. So if you hit an 800 watt hour battery and you charge in 2 hours when it normally takes 4, my question is, what is the life cycle of that battery? Because the reality is the battery charge and the range does drop, even noticeably in the first 4-5 months of ownership of a bike. If you ride a couple of times a week or once a week, you'll notice that it's a little bit less, especially if it's cold. So that's my experience. So, wow, we've got 16 online viewers at the moment, 110 views. Wow. Hi, everyone. This is amazing. Thanks for watching. Low and slow. Yes. Merry Christmas, Mario. Yes. Wasn't it nice? So there's another comment. Hi, how is it possible that there are practically 0 tests of new Trek Rail Plus now? Bikes are in store already, but no YouTube presenter has it for test. I have got one coming on the 15th of January, for what I understand. So the 15th of January, I should have a Trek Rail to try. But there aren't. So I've been told. So let's talk about production. So the irony of the overproduction of 2023, which has impacted 2024, too many bikes there, is for 2025, they haven't produced many bikes. So for what I understand, a lot of the brands have basically kept their numbers of productions really low. So they're only producing for selling, and I think mainly high-end stuff to sell. And so if you want a 2025 bike and you really want one, you kind of have to get on there and buy it. And you're not going to get much of a discount on it because they haven't made many of them. So I think that's why we don't have them as much as journalists, which is kind of annoying. But I'm sure the Trek Rail is going to be impressive. I love the old Trek Rail. It's a really good bike. So really good all-rounder. Does everything really well. It's fast, smooth, climbs well, good quality, Trek service, obviously. So I'm looking forward to trying the new one. If it's got the new Bosch motor, I'm expecting good things. And they've also mulleted it as well, which is also my preference. So there we go. Anyway, low and slow. Here we go. The new Cube 177 looks good. I think you will cover that in the future. Cube, yeah, it might be. Cube, I have contact with them, but they're more of a German-based company where they mostly sell into Germany, UK. Italy doesn't get a lot of cubes being sold, I've noticed, not around the middle of it. I mean, a lot of it's market. I mean, I know everyone, so I can go and just get bikes, but it's kind of hard trying to get hold of bikes sometimes. Because, yes, they send them to you sometimes, and they just call you, say, "Here, send you a bike." And go, "Great, thanks." And other times you're like trying to get the bikes, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you know." And then the marketing person changes, so you don't know who they are. and you've got to get hold of a bike. So sometimes it'll be a bit complicated. I know Cube have changed a lot, but I should be able to get one at some point, hopefully. Trek is low and slow. Yes, Trek is low and slow. I'd say that. Bike drought for 2025. Basically, yes. Bike drought for 2025. I agree. Yes, that's definitely what's going to happen. You'll find that by the middle of 2025, half the bikes are sold out. Can't find them anymore, especially if you want a particular one or a particular color. Good luck. You want a particular size, impossible. Probably XLs, impossible to find. Probably find M's and S's, a few, and quite a few L's, but the XL will probably be out. Probably S's probably won't be able to find either. But I bet you by the middle of 2025, very difficult to find a bike from this year to buy, and the bike industry will have shot itself in the foot again for underproducing. Now, let me give you an example. So I spoke to a bike producer who was in China a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying that they want to do a production run. And normally, if you say that, you have to wait, say, I don't know, a couple of months to 5, 6 months, 7, 9 months. They were told, would you like to start tomorrow? So the capacity is there and it's idle. So a little bit like the car industry. So that's what I was told. Anyway, I won't say who, but yeah, there we go. Nobody really covers Cube apart from some German language YouTube channels. Yeah, unfortunately, because Cube is such a German-based brand. I mean, I don't know, I think cancelled their racing team. I think they might have even cancelled their racing team. But yeah, Cube is a German-based brand. That's the point. Northern Italy has the opportunity. So at the Garda Festival, they'll probably be there. I'll probably be able to get one to play with there. But sometimes I don't have enough time to concentrate to get the bike, to get it here, to then test it. And sometimes it's like ease. So like if I've got like 5 brands and I want to test this one, this one, and this one, 3 of them, the other 2 are harder work to get, I probably just say, I can't be bothered, because it's just too much stress to try and get hold of them. Because I do everything. I'm pretty autonomous. So I don't have a secretary or an assistant. I just do everything on my own. So yeah, sometimes they call me and I just send them and I don't do anything. But basically, yeah, nobody. Yeah, so that's the way I operate when it comes to getting bikes to test. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like, so I've got these 2 bikes. I haven't signed any paperwork. They just send it to me and I just use them. So it's such a weird industry because you get sent the bike. I mean, like I store them in my house, so they're not. I treat these with maximum respect. I realize this is somebody's product that they've entrusted to me to use. So, and I must look after it because I don't want to break it. I want to look after it. This is, by the way, I just realized it's got the radial tires on it, so I need to try those as well. And yeah, get the bike in, keep it as best as I can, best condition I can, to go and to go ride it. Any other frames than forbidden for the DJI? I don't know. Good question. I'll come back to that in a second. So basically, get the bike in, and I normally ride them probably take the average bike for a ride for about 5 to 10 times. Sometimes I have bikes for months and months and months, and I ride them a lot, and I really find out what's wrong with them. And other bikes, all right with them. And other bikes, I only give them for a short period of time. I don't have enough time to shoot them and edit them. And normally, as soon as I get the bike in, I shoot it, all the product stuff first. So I've got a clean bike in the video files and fit pictures, and then I go ride it and mess it up. So yeah, and then give it back dirty. Well, I try to wash it a bit, but yeah, I never managed to get it this clean. I don't know what they do to get them this clean. Or maybe this is just brand new out of the box. Anyway, there you go. Right. Any other friends fitting DJI? I don't know. The main problem I see with DJI is, okay, I don't know, there's a bit of politics behind. And I think any brand wants to know that the motors work and have reliability and full service. Right now, if you say to me, Alex, where can I get my DJI motor serviced? No idea. So, service network. You've got to start from ground up and build up. Even Canyon online have a service network. So they have local dealers who will take your bike, do warranty work on it for you and either send it to Canyon or steal it, sort it out from them. Even they were forced to. So until DJI have a full service network of quality people who know what they're doing, I think, it's I don't know who's going to be taking that on straight away. Because the other thing you've got to remember as well with DJI is that they have a lot of politics as well. Go and look on Wikipedia. That's all I have to say. Montal Bunny bike. Hey, bello. Hey, Mario. Good to see you. Sam, just thinking it might be a popular one for your channel as it's not covered and pricing looks very competitive. Yes, Cube pricing is amazing. They hit the right place. The right place with price and quality of components. So yeah, I'll definitely try and get that. In fact, one of my biggest videos of the last year has been the Trek hardtail. I can't even remember what it's called, but the front suspension only hardtail bike. It's had massive quantity of views and it keeps going up and people really into looking at that bike. So, that €2,000 to €4,000, pound, dollar price range is super important. But to get watched and to get the sort of quality, you've really got to have the right keywording, and sometimes you're just out of control of the algorithm. You never know what's going on. So what's Matt saying? Hi, the radial tires are great. Just put some on my Levo. Can't wait to see what you think about them. Yeah, I want to try them. So I really want to try them because I really love the Goodyear tires that I've been testing, and I was going to try and get them actually to try and support the channel maybe because I really love them, but I want to try these properly. But I don't know if these are a good version, if they're just like OEM tires, so they're not the same as the ones that you get in the shops, because that's true of Maxxis. So if you've got a white Maxxis tire, that's not OEM. That's an OEM tire. That's the yellow ones you buy in the shop. And they sometimes, even though they're the same tire, they can have a different makeup in the construction. So I want to know if these are the same, if they're OEM as the ones that you buy. So I have no idea, but I'm definitely interested to try that. I need to take that on a rocky trail with lower pressure. I think that's the point. So thanks for the answer. Looking forward to your test of Rail Plus. I have a Rail Gen 4, very satisfied. Yeah, it's an amazing bike. The Rail is an amazing bike. I mean, it's one of my favorite bikes. Like Canyon Strive On, the Rail, Turbo Levo. Those are all bikes which to me stand up. My real favorite bike, just for pure performance riding, but people don't like the look of it, is the Lapierre GLP 2 or 3. This new one. Amazing bike, but very few were made. I think they made like 400. So don't know, but amazing bike. But very particular. Not everyone will like that from the look of it. We are loving Continental tyres in New Zealand, and they are lasting a long time, so have great grip in most conditions. Yeah, as you go. Sometimes local dealer support and what works in a market. So I was really shocked with the Goodyear how impressive they were. I was really surprised. They really worked hard on making those tyres good. So there we go. But yeah, Continental. I know MBR, Alan Muldoon's got some. He has a deal functioning all their test bikes. They use the Continental tyres. And that's the thing. I think I need a fixed brand. So I do one brand. So I do all the bike tests with the same tyres. And that removes a lot of guesswork out of, is it the tyre? Is it the suspension? What's going on? So if you have the same tyres on everything for a part of your test time, then you'll notice a lot more how the bike rides. So yeah. Hope you're doing well. Hey KB, do you think you will be deep dive on the helmet safety? Yes, I want to do a deep dive on the helmet safety. It's just going to take some time. So I've been talking to Liat, and I will reference them asking, because I really want to get into it. And I'm going to ask these difficult questions because look, my face tells you I risked my life, almost died, and my face was completely cut up and destroyed. So I am not scared, and I am not going to stand on ceremony with anyone when it comes to asking questions and just annoying people to get what I want to know out. I am not going to stand on ceremony because they're paying me. That's not going to happen because, life's too short. I would say though, wear a full face helmet, because I'm telling you, the crash happens so fast. Like one moment I'm like this, I wobble, go, and then bang, and the whole ground just comes towards me like this, poof, And I had no chance at all to think, to do anything. It's just 1 second I'm there, the next second I'm full speed into the ground face first. Full face helmet, basically. Didn't have that, my whole face would be even more screwed up than it already was. So, but one of the ironies, so in the hospital system here in Italy, apparently, if you've had an injury like I've had, I now have the right to plastic facial surgery to correct any problems that I have. So, and I know in certain places there's a lot of people getting cosmetic surgery and they have to pay, but I can get it for free now just by having a big crash. Fun. Using the Continental Cryptos and loving them. Yeah, I've tried them once or twice, but I haven't really got much memory about them. So they look like a good time. I mean, a Continental, so they're quality design behind them for sure. And ciao, Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, thanks, Octodad. Nice to see you. And Sam, was the trail you had the accident on black graded? No, it was red, basically. And I even crashed on Chicken Line, honestly. So if you look on motor.it, there is a video where you can see the moment the crash happened. Let me just find that for you because it's a good example of. Let's find that link. I don't want to move the computer in case I cause a crash because it's plugged in via the. I don't use Wi-Fi when streaming. Use a cable using Ethernet. So let me find the link of the video and I'll put it in the chat because then you can see it's in Italian. But if you hit the my last video had 6,000 views. That's quite nice. Yeah, let's just get this link. Share, copy. I'll drop that into the chat. You can see what I did, but you have to hit it because it's in Italian. You have to hit the translate. So go and have a look at it there. So free George Clooney face then. Yes, basically. The amount of people that have cosmetic surgery, just unbelievable. Boys as well, girls and boys. It's pretty mental. I don't know why. It's like, just like, look what can happen. You could have a perfect face and the next day go for a bike ride and it's all screwed up and all those thousands and thousands of euros that you spent on having your face looking perfect is ruined in a day or in a half a minute. So there we go. You know, yeah. So I do know that. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should keep this channel clean. I'm not going to get into all the controversy and all the things I know about facial and surgeries and all the corrective stuff that people do, or corrective or vanity surgery they do, because don't want to get cancelled. Anyway. So do you think you will wear a full face all the time now? Yes, I probably will. Unless I'm on a ride with my kids or I go to a social ride, just mucking around with friends and I'm on gravel roads. But I feel like I will be classed as a class A1 idiot if I crash and I'm not wearing all the protective gear again and I hurt myself again. I mean, can you imagine? I wouldn't be able to live it down. So I'm going to have to, I'm going to wear one. I mean, okay, if I go to the shops, I won't, but I don't know. I haven't literally ridden a bike. I've kind of been putting it off, to be honest, but just to get my back right. But as soon as I'm on it, I'll do a video. Maybe I'll do a live stream. So, of the ride. I don't know. Can I use my GoPro and do a live stream? But, so do you think anyway, but yeah. Anyway, oh my goodness. So I managed to sit here actually with my back in sort of a straight up position without any problems. Starting to lose the sensation of the plates that are in there now, which is good. I got quite lucky on that. So anyway, any more questions? So we're at 1 hour and a half on the stream, which is pretty long. I've got 15 concurrent viewers. That's amazing. I'm really happy everyone's watching actually. This is pretty cool. Like, I dream to get up to like 100 online viewers. I often watch retro gaming. I love retro gaming, and I love watching what they do. I love retro, by the way. It's one of my other fun hobbies, but I don't really talk about it. But I like retro bikes as well. And I wonder how long these will be current for, because we're talking about them today. Current today, retro tomorrow. Interesting. And that's why, if we get into the whole motor reliability thing, I have to say I want motors that will last. I want motors that will be fixable for the next 15 to 20 years, or maybe 15 years. That's reasonable. My mother just had a Cube E140, stereo E140 from 2012, fixed and reconditioned so she can sell it. And it has a value of around 1,200. And it's in perfect condition now. So that bike had a had a Bosch Gen 2 motor with a smaller cog on it. And if you can maintain it, it's like, I don't like throwaway society. It drives me mad if you can't repair stuff. You have to spend more money than the thing's worth to get it fixed. It's just mental. Don't like it. So I really get annoyed. And often when I'm at bike tests and stuff, I always tell I always ask the question, are you going to be repairing, or are these things going to be repairable? Battery repairing is another thing. Although one has to say, yes, it is important to have safety first with batteries, because fixing lithium batteries is a difficult task. So it says, why is Bosch referring to new motors as Gen 4 still and not Gen 5, even though the bolt pattern is different? Right. I know the bottom of this. If you see any YouTuber say it's a Gen 5 motor, they are talking out of their backside. Basically, the official coding of the motor is a BDU 38. Technically speaking, these motors are 6th generation motors, because the SX motor, which is slightly different to this, is a 5th generation motor. So they've kind of tried to abandon this generation thing, and they're trying to sort of market it as just a performance CX. Now, I suspect part of that is to support the older market of the used or the unsold Generation 4 stuff, and part of it is to try and move away from this sort of mad rush each year to produce a faster, better, stronger, more complicated motor, because they need to get away from this sort of yearly update into more of a generational Tesla way of doing things, in my opinion. But, obviously that depends on things. So, yeah, exactly. I don't get this too. Yeah, there we go. It's the way it is. So, I mean, the Gen 6, it is a different motor. It's a 2-bolt. It makes it easier for bottom bracket placement as well, the 2 bolts. So, because before you had a bolt here, which caused problems if you wanted to try and build the suspension with a different pivot or linkage design. You couldn't do it with the Bosch because it had this pivot, it had this attachment point right there. And also, so if you had a Cannondale, which I had, which got stolen, that was fun. I noticed the front pivot points had plates attached to it, and then the subframe then attached to the frame. But it creaked. It was really creaky. Unless you cleaned it and had no dust in there, it was super creaky. I've also noticed something else. Plastic covers rubbing against frames and motors can cause creakiness as well. So another problem that I've noticed. And so this 2-bolt pattern is basically better. It makes sense, but it's like Apple when they changed from the PowerPC to the Intel. Everyone was like, oh my goodness. And then they went to Intel. Everyone's kind of happy about that in the end. And then they changed to their own silicon chip, which again, problem, like I can't install a printer driver on the laptop. So, by the way, my face is really itchy right now. So if I keep touching my face, that's why. And basically, changing generation can annoy a lot of people. I think Shimano have stayed pretty constant and haven't swapped too many generations, but they have annoyed people without being able to make the software upgrade to the EP8 to make it ride like an EP801, and you can definitely feel the difference between the two. The EP8 feels very weak compared to the 801, but I'm sure Shimano this spring are going to come out with a new motor. I haven't been told anything, but the new dual trail at Paganella, do you have any more information about the new dual trail? It should be finished by now, basically, but it's all snowed over now, so it'll take time for that trail to come out. It's an amazing trail, really good, really, really good. Paganella's an amazing place, honestly, for riding. I've ridden a lot of places in the Alps, and for sort of that all level type riding. So you can ride down that trail, you can poodle down it without any worries and just have a safe, fun time, or you can go fast down it and double jumps, whip through things. You can do lots of things, and that you can do that on the same trail. So one could argue, well, hang on a minute, you can have beginners and pros on the same trail, it could cause a conflict, but they are so long. It's 5.6 kilometers long, or even more, I think, I can't remember, that you've got enough space to sort of spread everybody out. And Paganella is basically the epic place to go visit. Definitely go there. You'll never get... In 3 days, you can't ride everything. I was there for 3 days recently. You can't ride everything. You can ride, I don't know, you can ride, let's say, 6 trails, 7 trails, and repeat them and learn them a bit and have fun. But there's like 30 or 40. I mean, I did ride the hardest trail. I want to publish that video. I'm going to try and publish it soon. And it was just survival. Couldn't ride it. It was more than a double black diamond. It was something horrific. It was just basically unrideable for anyone unless you're like a pro who can do dirt jumps as well. Do you think you'll see Shimano many bikes in 2026? Yes, Shimano 2026. So what I'm noticing is each year there's basically a change. So bikes each year go through evolution. So you'll find this is the year of the Bosch. 2025 into 2026 is the year of the Bosch. 2026 will be the year of the Shimano, basically, from these two brands. Where will DJI fit? I think DJI will fit in 2026. If the brands are all on board with it and they appreciate it, they work about 1.5 years to 2 years ahead. So if they're seeing the motors now, they're trusting them, they believe, they're asking for a product to try, to test, to have on board, they will be producing those bikes for production in 2026, basically. I don't think there'll be many. 2027 will be the year of DJI, maybe, if they take a huge chunk of the market. Don't know. We'll see. A lot of it depends on service, though. If you don't have the service, I really don't care. You've got to have the service. If there's no service, I'm really not interested because, okay, I can call up on my phone now, Shimano, Bosch, Specialized. I can get every single person to call me out and they will sort me out fairly quick. Fatsur as well, the whole lot. And if you've got a Fatsur motor, you're probably going to be calling quite a lot. So, but basically, but that's me. That's my job. I'm in the business and I should have those contacts so I can get things done, so I can work. But the average consumer, they need to have the same confidence as me. They need to be able to go to their dealer and have it sorted with no stress, with no hassle. Just the dealer knows, yes, sir, I understand, madam, this is important to get it done. Let me call you back. Let me get this sorted. Maybe even have spare bikes, spare parts. Like I know they can have spare wheels if you break a wheel and they need to get it fixed. There needs to be that sort of, and a lot of the bike shops, especially around the ones that survive now, around in Tuscany, they are really good and they do that and they act on a very personal service. And I think the internet doesn't give you that personal service and personal deals. And if you buy a bike from someone, you can also trade in your used bike against it. Those prices are dropping though. So there's a lot of advantages to the used, that kind of market. I don't think you need that service. If you don't have the service, just it's going to be difficult. You know, that's what companies like Askoll have got to face up to. And even though I've got the motor, it's a brilliant motor, I love it. They have the possibility to have the service. DJI, they have the possibility to have the service. But I do know when the DJI reps was calling someone and saying, give me some feedback. So they're kind of doing R&D on the first bikes. So there we go. Interesting. Shimano's gotten such a bad reputation recently. Many brands switching to Bosch. Yeah. I mean, look, it goes through cycles, doesn't it? This is the problem. It's like back in the photography days when Canon and Nikon were producing. I've got Canon equipment. And then everyone was like, Nikon's terrible. Canon's the best. And then it swapped and Nikon came out with the D4. And that camera just absolutely kicked everyone else into the dirt. And was it the D3 or the D4? I think it was either D3 or D4. But it kicked everyone else got rid of everyone. I think it was the D3, the Nikon D3. It just murdered everyone, and then everyone suddenly switched to Nikon. And then Sony came along, and now Sony are one of the main players, and they've sort of kicked the market. And Canon is strong, but still, it's dropped back. So it's cycles of brands. I mean, it's difficult to read a market. It's difficult to make product that people want. You've got to follow the trends. You've got to try and set the trends. It's difficult. You need money. You've got to have cash flow. If you don't have cash flow, you can't do it. You can't invest, because you have to invest, because designing a bike is a difficult process. I know it's just a frame. It's a product. It's something. But if you want something which people are going to buy and appeals to the market, it's a special thing to do. I mean, it's not easy to read between the lines and get that product out there. I mean, some companies are good at it. Some are not. Specialized, honestly, the leaders in it. They just set the standard, but they're expensive. So, Matt, we're all pleased to see you on the mend and enjoying this intimate Q&A with you. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I like these live streams. I honestly want to do more of them. Once I've got the studio set up, I'm going to do more of them. It's just about picking the right time. So I picked 9 p.m. So I'm near 11, so almost on 2 hours. And I think that seems to be quite a good time to get on. If I go on any earlier, people aren't there. So, but yeah, if people make the requests, I'll come on and stream. Ideally, I'd like to stream once a week and just answer people's questions and just go through things. So I really like Linus Tech Tips from a sort of tech point of view, and the way they do their work and present their channel and the way they function. They have this thing called the WAN Show every Friday, and it goes out live. And I always watch it. It's 4 hours long. And they just manage to talk the whole time, and they have talking points. I'm doing this off the top of my head. So you guys are helping me here with the talking points, but I'm doing this off the top of my head. But, if you've got a bit of preparation, bit of something to touch and show, product to look at, then you can go. I can do that every week. I'd love to do it. So maybe we can try and organize myself more. So you can't have worse reputation than Canyon in this moment. Yes, Canyon. Oh dear. So I spoke to the Canyon rep. Let me see what he said. So I was honest. I always am. I'm quite well known for being direct, let's say. Let's find him. Let's just find him. Okay. I'm not going to tell anyone's names, so that'd be rude. Right. So I was sent an official message basically admitting the faults with Canyon, and they're pretty much doing things as fast as they can. They're really, behind the scenes, I can tell you they're a good company. They're run by good people. They've taken some of the best people from all the other companies that were there and integrated them together into Canyon. So I know they're a quality team, and I know that they care and they want to do the job well. I do know that because I've seen them behind the scenes. I know how they operate. And so I'm sure that this problem absolutely stressed the heck out of them. I am absolutely sure. I mean, I met the designer. I can't imagine a worse feeling than your battery cracking, even though you really worked hard on it. I mean, I know one of the Canyon designers. I think I've got his phone number, actually. So I should send him a link. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. I called him a mechanic, but he's not. He was one of the chief designers from Canyon. So, they'll be working super hard to get it, but it's that, things aren't perfect, are they? They made a screw up. Or was it the factory? I don't know what actually happened. There's probably a lot of discussion going on between them, a lot of diplomacy to try and figure out who's responsible for that cost. Difficult one, definitely. I don't want to see anyone do badly at the end of the day, but we live in a real world where things go well and things go badly. We could swap motors if we had an ISO standard mounting pattern. Yes, good point. Shimano seems to work well with all. That's why Askoll adopted it. Oli did it as well, another Italian brand. Maybe Bosch with this 2-bolt pattern. But if we had an ISO standard, that would be impressive. But I don't think it's going to happen because, you've got look at the computer market. You've got Shimano, you've got Intel versus, you can't use an Intel motherboard with a AMD. So there you go. It's a bit of competition is good though. Competition is good. And it keeps things interesting for us as well. This is a hobby sport. We're not saving the world. We're having fun. And honestly, having fun with the motors is, and trying things and seeing, this works better than that, and watching the competition. I remember back in the day when I first rode a Trek Superfly, I think it was, or whatever it was. It was in 2015. February 2015, I went to the mountains in Spain, rode that bike, had a great time. Was really impressed with Trek and what they did. Amazing product. Then 3-4 months later, I rode for the first time the brand new turbo lever when it came out, the very first one they made. And I was just like, I felt sad for Trek. I thought, oh my God, they work so hard. But this thing blows that one out of the water. This thing is amazing. And that was the first turbo lever, which only had a 420 watt hour battery, I would like to add. But yeah, so, it's competition. It's like what I have to do. It's like, I see videos on the internet and I'm like, how do they do that? That's amazing. And I'm like, I don't have the budget to do it. Don't have the time. Don't have the manpower. Don't have the camera. By the way, cameras. Talking of cameras. So in the crash, I destroyed my GoPro. I had the insurance though, and they sent me a new one, like as an official. I paid for that camera and they sent me a new one. I've also got this thing here, which is the Ace Pro 2. And this thing, so I've watched some comparative reviews on it. If you're doing vlogging and blogging with this screen, this thing is amazing. I love it. This is the camera I use now. The quality is much better than the chip design. So I found out also about the chips on GoPros. Why have GoPro not changed the chip for the last few years? Well, because they have a custom chip, which is a custom height. These are 4x3. They've got like an 8x or 5x8 format. So apparently that means they had to spend a lot of money producing chips, which means they had to produce enough chips for 3 or 4 years to stay the same chip before then. Once they got through that stock, then they can make a newer chip and they can improve the quality of their camera. But DJI and Insta360 are using the same chip, and it's more of a standard format. So it means that they can innovate more easily and change things more quickly, whereas GoPro are stuck with their chip, apparently. That's allegedly. So there we go. I have a Canyon Spectral on. No riding at all since November. Battery problems, but I like the Shimano 801. Yes, the Canyon Spectral on. It's an amazing bike. It's really an amazing bike. What a bike. I never even flattened the battery. I've had one for a long time and I haven't got it anymore. But yeah, what an amazing bike. And battery problems, yeah, they'll fix it. Just hang on. They'll get you out a new battery. Don't worry. So I'm still riding the 8000, but I think a lot of people got hurt by the EPA. Yeah, they did. The 8000 is a good bike. I've got a bike with that motor on it, and it's got like 20,000 kilometers on it. It's fine. It still works. It's really good. Do you come with more info on the Trek / 9.7? Yes, I do. 9.7, amazing bike. Love it. Absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So, when you're riding that bike, what's the difference with saying this and that and all the other ones I've ridden? That high pivot. So what happens is the rear axle path moves backwards. So as you go forwards and you hit especially square-edged objects, you can feel the bike not stop. But you don't know that the bikes that you're riding stop until you've ridden a bike that doesn't stop when you hit a very rough surface. But you don't know that until you've ridden one that does. And it genuinely works. That bike goes fast and is smooth and it's light. It's a real lightweight bike. It's not a fake lightweight bike. It's a real lightweight bike. And yes, okay. So you ask me now, what bikes do you want in your quiver? Imagine I have enough money for that. Well, I don't, but if I did, I would definitely, just for fun, have a Slash in there. Definitely. Good bike. I'd have a Canyon Strive-On. I'd have a Slash, and I would have probably something else. What else would I have in there? Ooh, difficult one. Probably a GLP-2 or a GLP-3, because I love those bikes from Lapierre. Those would be the bikes I'd probably have. Quite an eclectic mix. Quite aggressive, quite enduro. So, but I'd also have a cargo bike. I love the electric cargo bikes. Amazing things. We've got 17 viewers online now watching. Wow, that's amazing. And I've been on 2 hours. I'm not even gaming. It's just me talking. This is ridiculous. Linus is cool. He is. Okay. says it's got a little bit big-headed in my opinion, but it's the way he talks. He's acting up a bit too much. He needs to like chill, go back a couple of years to the sort of state of his way of doing things. But he knows his stuff. He absolutely knows his stuff. He's got solid knowledge, and it's difficult. Like you're fighting with the internet. Can you imagine? Like most of my videos don't get negative comments, which is good. Get the odd dislike, but sometimes I've had videos where I had to turn the comments off because it's so abusive, and I don't really care. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. But I'm talking about bikes. I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about anything controversial. But yeah, staying on that level of channel where you've got, was it 16, 17 million subscribers, every video gets 1 million views. It's a lot of eyeballs, a lot of pressure to get it right and get it perfect. So you need a team behind you. You need to have people scripting that, because otherwise if you make a mistake, you're going to be mincemeat immediately. Like I make mistakes with remembering the exact battery size or the exact terminology sometimes because there's so many stats. I do write it down. I normally script things a bit now, but I make mistakes and it happens, and I try not to, but you know. What about the Orbea Wilds 2025 model? Haven't tried it. Orbea kind of, they sell well. They do sell well. So I'm sure it'll be fine, because I think they got the same frame with either lightweight or the heavyweight setup. Orbea have been making good bikes since 2010. Like one of their, I can't remember which one it was, but one of their enduro or mountain bikes was very, very good. So Orbea have got it right. They really have. I didn't like their marketing for the lightweight bike, though. I have to say it was annoying watching them show it to be like an enduro thing. I think I put that in the last video, didn't I? Yeah. And it's not, because I rode it. It's like, this is a cross-country bike. Or it felt more like a cross-country bike. But because just the brake, I just couldn't brake. I couldn't do anything on it. It's like, ooh. But the modern Wild is way more aggressive. But that's my preference, maybe more. The all-mountain enduro is the sort of sweet spot for most people, because at the end of the day, you can just ride it like a shopping bike if you want, or you can go, throw it down a trail. So if you had one bike to rule them all, what would be your current pick at the moment? Money, no object. Oh, I hate those questions. My answer, gut instinct, is the bike that you have the most fun on. Like, what's amazing about cycling, if you put somebody who's never ridden a bike and you put them on an electric bike, and take them for a ride, they're like, oh my God, they're just smiling. So this could be the most amazing bike. Technical. Let's think about this properly. Money, no object. Ooh. Okay, the very first time I rode this S-Works Specialized Turbo Levo Gen 3, and I was told there's a Gen 4 coming, which they were sort of saying openly, but they're holding on to it for a while. I know nothing about the bike, but I know it's coming. Basically, that bike blew me away. It was amazing, but it was very hard to set up. So what they tend to do with these high-end bikes, if you just pick a bike and it's got carbon wheels, carbon frame, everything carbon, you find that the setup is way more sensitive, because you can set it up perfectly and you've got the right tire pressure, the right suspension, rebound, compression, everything's perfect on your perfect trail. And then you go ride another trail the same day, which happened to me, and you find that your suspension now feels terrible because you've got to change the settings because it was set for another trail, because it's all rigid. So the first thing I would do with this Turbo Levo Specialized Gen 3, the top of the range one, the S-Works, is take the carbon wheels off and put an aluminium wheel on the front. Just give it a little bit more flexibility. So maybe that high-end bike is not always the best. I mean, I always come back to the Strive On from Canyon. It's such a good bike. It's such a good bike. It does everything so well, and it's a good price. The Underdog version, amazing price and really good performance. So definitely something which I think is good. So, but it's hard. It's such a hard question, because I'm really lucky from one day to the next I can try something new. I mean, look, I've got these two sat here and I'm half crippled. I mean, goodness me. What Bosch motor would you pick right now? The new Bosch or a Lapierre GLP3 with a race motor on? Ooh, good question. Or another bike with a race and not the new Bosch. Ooh. So, depends on the type of riding you're doing. Okay, the race motor in Finale Liguria, where I've been riding it quite a lot. Actually, I've ridden that motor up there quite a few times. On the rocky up and down stuff, the race motor is pretty cool, I have to say. So if you're really razzing around, trying to get up and down those slopes as fast as you can, all the technical stuff, go the race motor, definitely. If you're just riding normally, let's be like we're all normal people here, then I would go for the normal Bosch, the new one. It's really smooth, and I know it will get better. Can't say more than that. It will get better, and it's already exceptionally good, and it will get better, which I think they're not sure if they're going to make. I haven't heard anything about race motors from this, so I think they're just going to stick. So from what I can interpret from the way the market's moving and the race motor versus this motor, I think they're going to stick with this. So the niche, they would always, when they did the introduction of the race motor, they said to us that we're going to do it for a year, maybe 2, and we'll see what happens. That's what they said. They didn't say, this is a standard line, it's going to be out there forever, we're going to keep going. They didn't say that. They're going to say, we'll see what happens. They specifically said that. There's a podcast with me talking to Klaus Feischmann about that. So he specifically said, we'll see what happens. And the performance and the sensitivity of this motor when riding compared to the race motor is exceptional. It is a brilliant, brilliant motor. Really good. It absolutely pans the Gen 4. It's really good. Mondraker seem to be pushing out so many different bikes. Yes, they are. Don't know why. Need to speak to them about that. Find out why. They're good quality, though, I have to say. I liked the Neat. It didn't have enough suspension aggression for me, but it was a good bike. Very lightweight. I just sent it back because I can't ride it. So I haven't ride anything. But, yeah. Anyway. But, yeah, Mondraker have been doing well. Wow, we're up at 2 hours. That's pretty much the longest live stream I've ever done. Wow. So I'll put it out for the last quick questions. Any more questions out there? And then I haven't been drinking water. I haven't been doing, and I've told my kids to stay off the internet because I need the streaming bandwidth because I don't have a fiber connection because I'm in the middle of the country. So they're probably dying to get on and game or something and kick me off the internet. So, but yeah. But I just want to say thank you to everyone for supporting the channel and supporting me with the comments and the likes and the watch time. And it really is quite a grind to get to a position, even to where I am now. And I'm kind of a small channel on my own, but when I do the big channel stuff, okay, great. But I really appreciate it. It's such an amazing experience to be able to feed back. And I don't get paid for this. I just do this for free. This is my fun time. I like this. I enjoy it. So I love bikes. I love the people. I love the community ride feel. I love all of the things that go with it. And just like having a fun. And just enjoying the view. And it's all made possible by all the people that watch. So, yeah. It's because I'm in the market for a new bike. And some of those bikes I'm looking at have a race and not changed the new Bosch yet. Pilot, Pivot, and Lapierre are some favourites. Yes. The Lapierre GLP3 is a very specific bike. Okay. It handles like nothing else. There's no other bike out there that handles like that bike. It feels a little heavy on the rear because of the weight, because it's quite a heavy bike. But at the same time, it has performance and agility that even the lightweight bikes don't have because the way the weight is centered on that bike. It's quite incredible. And the more you ride it, the more you love it. And that's what I find in my experience. Yeah. Sam, looking forward to more content 25. It takes a lot of work to produce the videos. Much appreciated. Thank you, Sam. Yes, it does. But I love doing it, and I try to do my best. And I'm a bit impatient sometimes when I edit. I can't even be bothered to sit there and edit half the time. I'm like, ah. But I do love it. I love getting out a quality bike, and I'm just trying to pace myself. And every year and every month that goes by, I manage to sort of improve my workflow and get things working better. And just want to do it for the normal person. I don't want any BS. I want everything to be as clear as possible, and I'm going to stay that way. If I'm ever sponsored for a bike test, which can happen, possibly, who knows, I will say so. I will say this video, they asked me to talk to you about these points on the bike, and I am doing that. In another video, I will give you a test about it. That is what I will do, and that comes from Linus Tech Tips. That's the way they do it. It's a way to navigate, because obviously we need to eat. So, but I'm not going to sit there and be paid to say, because it's when I see somebody say, oh yeah, I was paid for this video, but at the same time they told me not to say anything. I mean, come on, that's just not, yeah, you know, like, I mean, one of the reasons I took the Liat support as well was because I was very clear that you can't test a helmet unless you really crash. Same as you can't really test wheels very easily either, because you need special machinery to do it. So I was like, well, at the end of the day, I never really test helmets and stuff, so I'll take the support, and I think it's going to be fine. I'll be straight up with everybody, and I mean, it's one of the top protection companies out there anyway, and you know, works for me. I like it, so it's good. But obviously, the other companies make good stuff, so and I'll still try it if they send it to me. What will be the different on the new Gen 4 Levo? Ha 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 ha, Matt. Lots of things. It'll be up with the times. It's probably the best way to say it. It'll be up with the times. I've never ridden one. I've not seen it. I've not seen any specs. I've only heard rumours, but it'll be very good, but expensive. There you go. Anyway, right. So everyone, thank you for watching. Please, if you're watching right now, make sure you hit subscribe and likes. Lots of likes, because that does help. Liat testing to extreme. Try and avoid that next year. Yes, I will, Sam. Definitely. So, but I'm glad I had that helmet on, not the previous helmets I was using, which were, because it's just not as strong. So, anyway, can't remember the name of it. Parachute. I had a parachute. What's that? Anyway, yeah. So, Gamers Nexus is great. Well, yes, Gamers Nexus, excellent channel. So much research in that channel. So much research. So hard to do. Also to edit it and put it together and keep your thoughts in the right direction. Really hard work. But really doing a good job there. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching the channel. I'm going to try and ride a bike. I'm going to put some pedals on one of these bikes tomorrow or Christmas Day. I'm going to take it for a ride. Easy going. And I'm going to film it. Just to say, hey, look, I'm riding a bike. Why not? And I'll tell you what it feels like. I'm going to do that with the Askoll. Let's try and do it with the Askoll first. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Safe Christmas. Enjoy things with your family. Don't argue too much. Don't eat too much. Go out on the bike. Chill out. Enjoy your kids. Enjoy your family. Enjoy everything. Enjoy your friends. Have a good time. Make sure you meet up with people. If you know anyone out there who you know somebody's on there and they're on their own at Christmas, invite them over. I always do that. Anyway, take it easy, everyone. Cheers, and see you soon. Bye. Fuck. Boys.